Welcome to the Parent Ed podcast by Focus on the Family Singapore. Family life can be crazy and chaotic, so join us as we figure it out together.
Hello and welcome to the Parent Ed podcast. My name is June and I'm your host for this episode. In each episode of the Parent Ed podcast, we'll be tackling questions that parents are asking about family life, parenting, marriage, work life, and more. We'll be speaking with everyday parents and practitioners as they share with us their experience and practical ideas. We hope that you will keep tuning in to learn with us and to grow in your journey as parents. We often hear the phrase, motherhood in the trenches, and perhaps for good reason. Motherhood brings great joy and fulfillment for many women, but at the same time, also deep losses and struggles that are sometimes hard to define or express. Today's podcast will cover some of these struggles that mums often experience and ways to help them find themselves again and to be at peace. Joining me for today's podcast is Joan Swee. Welcome to the Parent Ed podcast, Joan, and thank you so much for joining us today. You started Whispering Hope to assist grievers, including mums, to help them process their griefs and losses and to find healing. Can you share with us a little bit more about this journey?
Hello everyone, I'm Joan. Well, I lost my husband to 2 battles of cancer when I was 35. My sons were only 6 and 8 then. I returned to work as a freelance corporate trainer when they were 11 and 13. So I can identify with many of you, stretched between work, children, home, and perhaps even aging parents. As moms, we are constantly on the go and tackling something on our to-do list. Let's take some moments for some deep breathing to center ourselves and get prepared for some great learning today.
That sounds great, Joan.
Shall we all find a chair to sit? All right, close your eyes. Take a deep breath through your nose and hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out slowly through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do it a second round. Keep your eyes closed. Take another deep breath through your nose and hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out slowly through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last round. With your eyes closed, take a deep breath through your nose. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out slowly through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep your eyes closed. Breathe normally now. Think of your favorite flower, or a bird, or nature scenery, or a recent holiday. Hold on to that image. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slowly open your eyes. I hope that brought you some stillness and calmness in the midst of your very busy day so that you can enjoy this podcast with us. Now, this is really a quick way to de-stress and find some self-care space to rest for a while before getting on your busy rounds again.
Thank you, Joan. I feel so relaxed even as we continue this podcast session.
I actually practice it myself many times through the day.
I will make a mental note to do that, especially the busier we are. Yeah. Sometimes we just need to take some moments to regain ourselves and our center.
I don't know about you, June, but did you feel that there's actually a freeing of space in your head when you did that breathing and holding it?
Yeah, that's right.
So we remember we are body, soul, mind and spirit. We are connected. So when we are able to even rest in our mind, our whole body actually comes to a rest.
Thank you for sharing that gem. Even as we begin today's podcast, I'll just ask you to share more about what would you say are some of the common losses that affect women in our society as we strive to play that very important and supportive role in our homes as moms and as wives, and also in our workplace?
I think mothers may find it difficult to juggle the demands of work and motherhood. This can lead to a loss of career opportunities and learning potential versus devoting full time to the home and care of children. So becoming a mother can lead to a sense of loss of one's individual identity and autonomy, like who am I? Why do I choose to stay home versus work? And this other one, loss of personal spending power, because now got to ask permission, can I buy? We may also have the case of sandwich moms, when a mom struggles to care for the elderly and the very young, often leaving her gasping for breath. How about moms of children with special needs? A very special but not insignificant group. The parenthood journey is extra tough for these moms. My oldest son actually was assessed ADHD when he was 4. Dyslexic, sensorial perceptual with fine motor skills impact. I had to deal with my own anxieties too, besides learning to manage positively with him.
Well, thank you for sharing your own personal journey as well. It must not be easy to care for your child when you're also struggling to understand his condition and his challenges.
Yeah.
And while at the same time you have to manage your own emotions, right?
Yeah.
What kept you going through that difficult phase? And also earlier you mentioned you had to go through the loss of your husband. What did you do and what helped you?
First of all, it's just understanding that with or without a husband, motherhood brings us through ups and downs in our different seasons of life. Losses and struggles are also an inevitable part of that journey. And then we need to learn how to adjust our expectations, accept that our life stage and circumstances, and embrace the changes that are needed for us to live life to the fullest. So we have to make quite a lot of adjustments along the way. And then with grief and loss, whether it is loss through divorce or loss through the death of a husband like myself, or even loss of elderly parent at home that also used to be part of the whole support system, So grief and loss actually have no timeline, but you can choose to find your courage and resilience to build that life that honors your losses and celebrates your hopes and dreams.
So as moms, we really need to learn to accept the various challenges that we face. It's good to recognize that life may not always go as we planned. And sometimes we do have to grin and bear it, for lack of a better word. And sometimes we just have to make the decisions that we need to make so that life can go on as normally as possible. Well, it is important to remember that our family is our top priority and we need to care for our loved ones. At the same time, we need to care for our own mental health.
Yeah.
So what practical tips would you share to empower moms who are struggling in their day-to-day journey? How can they make space for themselves to breathe?
I think just now that short breathing exercise is something that I highly recommend. I think these are the practical tips to deal with the day-to-day stresses. Like connect with what has meaning for you and what makes you feel uplifted. For example, if you have 5 minutes, only 5 minutes in your busy day, find a favorite cozy spot in your home and do some breathing exercise. You can hold your breath up to 5 or even stretch it to 10. You feel more relaxed actually if you stretch it to 10. And then remember to breathe out slowly. Don't rush your breath out. Because if you rush your breath out, you go very pantly. You pant out. So if you have 15 minutes, how nice, huh? Sometimes we may have 15 minutes. Perhaps you can take a walk in the neighborhood, put your devices on silent, observe nature and the people around you. That can be very grounding and calming as well. If you have 30 minutes, pick up the phone, talk to a close trusted friend, or read a chapter of your favorite book that you have put aside, something inspiring for you. Or take a walk around the supermarket, picking out things that you enjoy eating or using. I like to watch AGT or British Got Talent of young gifted singers like Cody Lee. They inspire me and I can even smile along with them. So in the longer run, connecting with our faith and engaging in activities with people who nourish our souls can help us to find balance and peace and build our mental resilience. I think that's very important. Finding spaces for yourself, whether 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, I think we can do that. We can love ourselves.
I really could relate to the one about talking to a friend. I like to do that over coffee at a nice cafe and also reading a chapter of an inspiring book. So I guess we should always keep some of these around the house handy to remind us that, hey, we are worth investing in, we are worth loving. And I also wonder, like, while we are doing this and while we are taking time out for ourselves, sometimes we can feel almost like a sense of guilt because we are not doing something for the home, even though maybe things are in a mess and it needs some tidying up. So how do we prevent ourselves from being bogged down by these negative emotions, even as we take 5, 15, 30 minutes? It's not a very long time.
I think it's very, very important, June, the stories that we tell ourselves. I think we need to pay attention to that. The stories and phrases we tell ourselves can either lift us up or they will weigh us down. So I think we need to choose words that we will be able to soothe our soul and also nourish ourselves for the long haul. For example, when I was running around with the 6 and the 8-year-old, right, I would say, especially when they fight, boys, when they fight, okay, I would say, this mad phase is not going to last forever, only for that time, yeah. And then on days when I feel like I'm running around like a chicken without a head, I would say, it's okay, I'm young, I can do this. So try and take some control. And then at other times, especially when June said, if the house, is still in a mess, there are things that are done, uniform, not iron or whatever, I'll just calm myself down and say, I don't need to be perfect, just do the best I can. And slowing me down, I think, is very important, especially we have a million long list of things to do. I would tell myself one thing at a time. So which one is most important now that I can do? One thing at a time. And I recommend again the deep breaths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to slow us down.
It's amazing how even the simple act of counting from 1 to 5 can really calm us down and help us to see things from a different perspective. So thanks for sharing. I think I will definitely take on board the statement that you said earlier, that I don't need to be perfect. Just be the best I can. So thank you for that. I think even as we do something for ourselves, whether it's a small thing or a big thing, like you said, going to the grocery store, picking out a food that I like, instead of always looking to tend to other needs first, I wonder if we are telling ourselves and our minds that we are important too, We can definitely take time for ourselves. And by doing so, I wonder if that actually helps us to be more present and to be a better version of ourselves to our family.
I think loving self, appreciating self is important, because if we can't love ourselves, then we struggle with getting people to love us. So I think that bit of self-care, self-honoring is very important. Remember, we're not perfect. None of us are perfect.
So what would you say to a mom who might be used to being very critical on herself? It's like the very small mistake that she makes, wow, it becomes a big thing for her. What would you tell her?
I actually applied self-motivation. I remember telling you in the introduction that I was also doing corporate training, yeah? So one of the things I like to do is also making a list of what I have accomplished and celebrating that. What is the one thing that I enjoyed doing last week that I felt I did well? What is the one thing that I did well last month? It doesn't have to be all big. It could be small. It could be like, hey, I managed to cook a new dish that I learned through YouTube, I did it. And then how about creating a list of things to do that you enjoy for yourself? Whether it is, okay, make a mental note, I want to go to Lower Pierce Reservoir. That's, by the way, one of my favorite places to go as well. I want a nature walk. The other day, I explored what they call Pasir Ris Park for the first time. Yeah. So I think you can create a list of to-dos that you would like to explore for yourself.
It sounds like you bring yourself on a little adventure every week, even a small adventure like trying out a new dish.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing with us your experiences and tips. I particularly like the deep breathing you brought us through. I also like the fact that it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot of money, it doesn't take a lot of time. Even 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and it can really help us to just find ourselves. You know, it's like picking up pieces of ourselves, right? For those tuning in, especially moms, we hope that you feel encouraged as well as I have, and that you have picked up some good tips to instill a spot of calm into your hectic lives. So with Mother's Day just around the corner, Joan, and in line with our Mother's Day theme, One of a Kind Mom, would you like to share a last word on how we can celebrate our unique selves and how we can be kinder to ourselves as well as other moms?
I really think it would be very nice to connect with people that are special to us, whether we share the same faith or we share the same values. And perhaps even we know each other because of our children or our extended families. I think it's so wonderful to be able to connect with people so that we can nourish our souls, because man is not an island. We are meant to be in the company of people. We're meant to be social. So that's my word to you. Have friendship time.
Thank you. So even loving ourselves include having other people come into this space as well. Thank you for sharing, Joan. To mothers who are listening in, we hope you check out our Mother's Day campaign. Do visit our website at www.family.org.sg/oneofakindmom. We hope you can share this podcast as well with a friend or a mom who may benefit from it as well. Do keep tuning in to the Paranet podcast to learn and grow in your parenting journey. Until next time, have a great week ahead with your family.